Title: The Wicked Mother-in-Law. In the heart of a quiet village surrounded by lush hills, Ngozi, a young woman full of hope, had just married her true love, Chuka. After their wedding, they moved into the family home, a modest house inherited from Chuka's late father. It was meant to be a place of happiness and growth, but there was a shadow looming over it, the shadow of Mama Ugochi, Chuka's mother. From the very first day, Mama Ugochi made it clear that Ngozi was not truly welcome. She greeted her with coldness, her eyes sharp and critical. While Chuka was ecstatic about his new life, his mother's attitude turned what should have been a joyful beginning into a house full of tension. Mama Ugochi's words were like daggers, always finding fault in everything Ngozi did. "Why are you cooking like this?" Mama Ugochi would bark as she stared disapprovingly at the meal Ngozi had prepared. "I thought the house was clean, but clearly, you don't know how to do it properly," she would say with a sneer after Ngozi had spent hours tidying up. Ngozi tried to stay patient. She did her best to be respectful, but every gesture of kindness seemed to be met with more cruelty. Despite her efforts, Mama Ugochi only grew more malicious, throwing sharp words and sneers in every direction. Every day was a battle, and Ngozi felt herself growing weary. As the days passed, the weight of Mama Ugochi's constant criticism began to take a toll on Ngozi. She could no longer sleep peacefully at night, her heart heavy with sorrow and confusion. Why did Mama Ugochi hate her so? She had done nothing to deserve such cruelty. Chuka, though a loving husband, often found himself in the middle of the two women. His love for his wife conflicted with his duty to his mother. He would often try to defend Ngozi, but Mama Ugochi's stubbornness always prevailed. One evening, after yet another harsh comment from Mama Ugochi, Ngozi sat alone in their bedroom. She wept quietly, feeling as though the walls were closing in on her. The woman who was supposed to be her family, her support, was instead the source of all her misery. The love she once felt for her husband was now overshadowed by the constant tension in their home. "I can't keep living like this," Ngozi whispered to herself, wiping away her tears. "I've tried everything, but it's never enough." The breaking point came one fateful evening when Mama Ugochi went too far. After Ngozi had prepared a traditional dish for dinner, Mama Ugochi declared it unfit for consumption and ordered her to redo the entire meal. "If you don't know how to cook like a proper wife, then what are you doing here?" she sneered. That was the moment when Ngozi knew she could no longer tolerate the cruelty. She looked at Chuka, hoping he would stand up for her, but he merely stood silent, torn between his love for her and his obligation to his mother. In the quiet of their bedroom, Ngozi made up her mind. She couldn't continue living like this, constantly walking on eggshells, never knowing when the next insult would come. She decided to have an honest conversation with Chuka, no matter how difficult it might be. The next morning, after a long night of contemplating her next move, Ngozi sat down with Chuka. She poured out her heart, telling him how deeply hurt she was by his mother's actions. "Chuka, I've tried so hard, but your mother's cruelty is unbearable. I can't live in this house anymore, not like this." Chuka was silent for a moment, his face troubled. He loved his mother, but he also loved his wife. The pain in Ngozi's eyes was undeniable, and it broke his heart to see her suffer. After a long silence, he finally spoke. "I never realized how bad it had become, Ngozi. I'm sorry. I love you, and I will not allow my mother to treat you this way anymore." With that, Chuka made a decision. He would confront Mama Ugochi no matter the consequences. That afternoon, Chuka called his mother into the living room. The tension was palpable as he sat across from her. "Mama," he began, his voice firm but respectful, "you have treated my wife with nothing but cruelty. This ends now. If you love me, you will respect her." Mama Ugochi's face turned red with anger. "How dare you speak to me like that, Chuka?" She spat, but deep down she knew that her son had made up his mind. Chuka stood up, looking at his mother with a newfound resolve. "If you want to keep a relationship with me, you will change. I cannot be in a house where my wife is constantly belittled." For the first time, Mama Ugochi fell silent. She had lost her son's respect, and she knew it. Her heart, though proud and stubborn, was shaken. The days that followed were tense, but there was a shift in the atmosphere. Mama Ugochi didn't immediately become the loving mother-in-law Ngozi had hoped for, but she made an effort to change. She stopped her cruel remarks, though the road to peace was long and difficult. Ngozi, too, did her part. She tried to be understanding and patient with Mama Ugochi, knowing that healing would take time. Slowly, their relationship began to evolve. It wasn't perfect, but it was better. They learned to coexist, to respect one another, and to understand the deep love Chuka had for both of them. Chuka, though grateful for the change, never forgot the lesson he had learned. His mother's behavior had nearly torn his marriage apart, but he had chosen his wife. He promised himself that no matter what, he would always put her first. Mama Ugochi, for her part, came to understand that true love wasn't about control or manipulation. It was about respect and understanding. It was a painful lesson, but one that would stay with her for the rest of her life. And so in the end, the wicked mother-in-law became a woman who had learned the value of love, respect, and family. It wasn't easy, but through understanding, the family found peace.